It was 7:12 on a rainy Thursday morning when my 8-year-old daughter buckled herself into the back seat and smiled at me through the rearview mirror. "Mom, don't forget today's my science presentation." I smiled back. I wouldn't miss it for the world. Those were almost the last words I ever said to her. Less than 5 minutes later, I pressed my foot on the brake as traffic slowed near an intersection, and the pedal dropped straight to the floor. Nothing happened. My car kept accelerating downhill. I remember screaming my daughter's name. I remember jerking the steering wheel away from a school bus full of children. I remember the sound of twisted metal. After that, everything went black. At first, everyone called it a tragic accident. But it wasn't. Someone had cut my brake line, and when I discovered who had done it, I realized the person who wanted me dead wasn't a stranger. It was my own sister. Even telling this story still makes my hands shake. My name is Emily, and until that morning, I believed my younger sister, Rachel, was simply difficult, competitive, jealous, sometimes selfish. Never a murderer. Looking back now, that was the moment everything had already started, even though I couldn't see it yet. Rachel and I had always lived in each other's shadow. Growing up in Oregon, people constantly compared us. Rachel was louder, more outgoing, the kind of woman who could walk into a room and have everyone's attention within minutes. I was quieter. I worked hard, avoided drama, and eventually became a financial analyst because I liked solving problems more than creating them. Our parents used to joke that Rachel inherited the family charm while I inherited the family responsibility. Rachel never laughed at that joke, not once. As adults, our lives drifted in completely different directions. I married Daniel, my college sweetheart. We bought a modest house. Then our daughter, Lily, was born. For 8 wonderful years, life wasn't perfect, but it felt safe. Until Daniel died from an unexpected heart condition. One ordinary Monday, he kissed Lily goodbye before work. By dinner, he was gone. The grief nearly destroyed me. There were nights I slept on Lily's bedroom floor because she cried herself to sleep, asking why Daddy wasn't coming home. I had to become both parents overnight. Every bill, every decision, every nightmare, every birthday, everything rested on my shoulders. Rachel showed up after the funeral, wearing designer sunglasses and carrying expensive flowers. She hugged me tightly enough for everyone to see. "You'll be okay," she whispered. Then she leaned closer. Daniel always handled the money anyway. It sounded like sympathy. But something about the way she smiled afterward left a knot in my stomach. I ignored it. I told myself grief made people awkward. I wish I had known what was coming next. Daniel had been careful with money. He carried life insurance. We had savings, a few investments, nothing extravagant, just enough to make sure Lily would never struggle. When the insurance payment arrived months later, I paid off the mortgage. Started a college fund, invested the rest. I never posted about it online, never bragged. Only my immediate family knew. Rachel somehow turned that into a personal insult. She started making comments every time we met. "Must be nice not worrying about money. I wish someone would leave me a paid-off house. You got lucky." Lucky, that word made my blood boil. There is nothing lucky about burying your husband before turning 40. But I stayed quiet, mostly because Lily was always nearby. She didn't deserve to hear adults tearing each other apart. Rachel, on the other hand, seemed determined to keep score over everything. If I bought Lily a bicycle, Rachel accused me of showing off. If I took Lily on a weekend trip, Rachel rolled her eyes. If some of us had widow money, we'd all be traveling. I laughed awkwardly. Everyone else changed the subject. No one wanted confrontation. Looking back now, silence only made Rachel bolder. About a year after Daniel passed away, our parents announced they were selling the family lake cabin. It had been in our family for decades. Neither Rachel nor I wanted strangers buying it. I offered to purchase it myself, not below market value. Not through pressure. I simply offered exactly what a realtor estimated it was worth. My parents agreed. Rachel exploded. You manipulated them. No, I made an offer. You think you're better than everyone because you have money. I used my savings. You used Daniel's death. The entire room went silent. Even our father looked horrified. Rachel stood up, grabbed her purse, and stormed out. She didn't speak to me for nearly 2 months. I honestly believed that distance might heal things. I was wrong. Then something happened that changed everything. One Saturday afternoon, Rachel unexpectedly knocked on my front door carrying coffee and pastries. She smiled so warmly it caught me off guard. I've been thinking, she said. I'm tired of fighting. I miss my sister. For a moment, we spent hours talking. She played board games with Lily. She laughed. She apologized. I'm jealous sometimes, she admitted. I know that's ugly. I just feel like everyone always chooses you. I reached across the table and squeezed her hand. We're sisters! We don't have to compete! She actually cried, or at least, I thought she did. When she left that evening, Lily hugged her goodbye. Aunt Rachel, can you come over next weekend? Rachel smiled. I'd love that. Watching her drive away, I felt relieved. Maybe this nightmare between us was finally ending, but what happened next shocked me. 3 days later, I noticed Rachel standing in my driveway as I walked outside for work. She quickly stepped away from my car. Oh, she laughed nervously. I was looking for my phone. In my driveway, I thought maybe I dropped it when I visited. It sounded strange. Still, people forget things. I unlocked the car. She hugged me, then drove away. I didn't think about that moment again. Not until weeks later. The morning of the crash felt ordinary. Rain tapped softly against the windows. Lily couldn't find one of her shoes. We almost left 10 minutes late. I remember teasing her. If we keep moving this slowly, you'll graduate before we leave. She giggled. Those little laughs replayed in my mind for months afterward. As we drove downhill toward the elementary school, traffic suddenly stopped. I pressed the brake pedal. Nothing once. Twice again, the pedal slammed against the floor like it wasn't connected to anything. Mom? Lily's voice cracked. Why aren't we stopping? My heart nearly exploded. It's okay. It was a lie. I yanked the emergency brake. The car fishtailed violently. A delivery truck appeared in front of us. I swerved left, missed it by inches. Then another vehicle entered the intersection. Metal screamed. Glass shattered. Everything spun. The world flipped upside down. My last conscious thought wasn't about myself. It was Lily. Please let Lily live. When I woke up, every part of my body hurt. Machines beeped beside me. My left arm was wrapped in casts. My ribs felt broken. My head throbbed so badly I couldn't open my eyes for more than a few seconds. The first thing I whispered was, "My daughter." A nurse immediately leaned over me. "She's alive." I started crying before she finished speaking. "She has a broken arm and a concussion, but she's asking for you." Those words carried me through the pain. Hours later, detectives visited my hospital room. It appears your brakes failed. Mechanical failure? We don't know yet. That answer haunted me. Cars don't simply stop braking overnight. Mine had passed inspection less than a month earlier. Still, I pushed the thought away. Surviving mattered more. Seeing Lily mattered more. A week later, I was finally wheeled into her hospital room. She burst into tears. "I thought you died." I hugged her carefully despite the pain. "I'm still here. I'll always fight to come back to you." She buried her face against my shoulder. I was so scared, so was I. Neither of us noticed Rachel standing quietly in the doorway. She was holding flowers, smiling. But there was something strange about that smile. It disappeared the instant she realized I was looking at her. She stepped inside. "I've been praying every day." "Thank you," I whispered. She placed the flowers down and gently touched my shoulder. "I'm just glad you survived." Her words sounded kind, yet something in her eyes felt disappointed. I hated myself for even thinking it. Ho suspects their own sister after surviving a crash. Days passed. Insurance investigators began asking questions. Mechanics inspected the wreckage. Then one detective returned. His expression had completely changed. He closed the hospital room door before speaking. Mrs. Carter, your brake line didn't rupture. I stared at him. What do you mean? It was cut. The room went silent, not damaged, not worn out. Cut. Someone had intentionally sabotaged my car. Every hair on my arms stood up. Are you saying someone tried to kill us? He nodded slowly. We're treating this as attempted murder. My mind immediately searched for enemies: an angry client, a random criminal, someone from Daniel's past. Rachel never even crossed my mind. Not then, but that was about to change. Because only 2 days later, an elderly neighbor asked me a question that made my blood run cold. Emily, why was your sister under your car the morning before your accident? The moment my neighbor asked that question, every sound around me seemed to disappear. What did you just say? She looked confused by my reaction. The morning before your accident, I was watering my roses around 7. I saw your sister kneeling beside your car. I figured she was helping you with something. My heart started pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. You're sure it was Rachel? She nodded without hesitation. I even waved at her. She waved back. A cold chill ran through my entire body. I remembered finding Rachel in my driveway just days earlier. I remembered her strange excuse about looking for her phone. I remembered the disappointed look on her face when she visited me in the hospital. For the first time, I allowed myself to think the impossible. What if my sister had tried to kill me? I wanted to reject the idea. I wanted there to be another explanation. But what I discovered over the next few days destroyed every remaining doubt. The detective arranged another interview after hearing what my neighbor had seen. He didn't accuse Rachel immediately. Instead, he asked detailed questions. Who knew your daily routine? Who knew what time left for school every morning? Who had access to your property? The answer to every question included Rachel. She had spare keys. She visited often. She knew exactly when Lily and I left every Thursday. The detective quietly took notes. We're going to look deeper. I nodded, but inside I was falling apart. I wasn't grieving the accident anymore. I was grieving the sister I thought I had. Then something happened that changed everything. A forensic technician found partial fingerprints on the section of brake line that had been cut. Most had been damaged during the crash. One usable print remained. It matched Rachel. The detective called me personally. We're not making an arrest yet. Why not? We need motive and additional evidence. Defense attorneys can argue innocent contact since she's your sister and had legitimate reasons to be around your car. I understood. Emotion wasn't enough. The truth needed proof. Rachel had no idea the investigation was closing in. She kept calling, sending flowers, checking on Lily, even offering to let us stay at her house while my car was being replaced. Every message made me sick. I stopped answering. She noticed. One evening, she showed up unannounced. You've been avoiding me. I've been recovering, she folded her arms. That's not the only reason. I looked directly into her eyes. Were you near my car the day before the crash? For just a fraction of a second, she froze. Then she laughed. What kind of question is that? Our neighbor saw you. I dropped my bracelet. You told me you were looking for your phone. She blinked, then quickly smiled. Oh, right, I forgot. Forgot. People forget little things. Not stories about standing underneath someone else's car. Looking back now, that tiny mistake became one of the biggest cracks in her lie. After she left, I called the detective immediately. He told me not to confront her again. If she's guilty, she'll make mistakes. He was right. 3 days later, another surprise arrived. My attorney called. Emily, did you know your sister recently asked your parents whether your estate planning documents named a guardian for Lily? I felt physically ill. No. She specifically asked what would happen to your daughter if you died. The room spun. She hadn't only planned for me to die, she had been thinking about what happened afterward. That night, I barely slept. I sat beside Lily's bed, watching her breathe. She had survived because I had swerved away from the school bus. If I hadn't, neither of us would still be alive. I quietly promised myself something. Rachel would never get another chance. The investigation accelerated. Police obtained search warrants for Rachel's financial records and phone activity. What they uncovered shocked everyone. 6 months before my crash, Rachel had accumulated enormous debt. Credit cards, personal loans, missed mortgage payments, collection agencies. She was drowning financially. Then detectives discovered internet searches made from her laptop. How to make brake failure look accidental, life insurance beneficiaries, who gets custody if a parent dies. The dates were only weeks before my accident. When the detective showed me the report, I couldn't breathe. This wasn't impulsive. It was planned, carefully, patently, deliberately. But the final piece of evidence came from somewhere none of us expected. Rachel's ex-boyfriend contacted police after seeing news coverage about the investigation. He handed detectives an old phone containing voice recordings. One recording stopped everyone in the room. Rachel's voice was unmistakable. I swear, Emily always lands on her feet. If she disappeared, everyone would finally stop treating her like some perfect little saint. Her ex laughed nervously. You sound dangerous. She answered with words I'll never forget. Sometimes problems solve themselves. The recording wasn't a confession, but together with everything else, it painted a devastating picture. Police arrested Rachel early on a Monday morning. I wasn't there. I didn't want revenge through spectacle. I wanted justice through truth. News spread quickly through our family. My parents refused to believe it. There has to be some mistake. There isn't. The evidence. I've seen it. My father cried harder than I had ever seen, not because Rachel had been arrested, because he realized she had nearly murdered his other daughter and his granddaughter. The criminal trial began almost a year after the crash. Walking into that courtroom was harder than surviving the accident. Rachel sat only a few feet away. She wouldn't look at me. For days, experts explained exactly how the brake line had been cut. Forensic analysts matched her fingerprint. Digital investigators presented her search history. Financial experts described her debts. Witnesses placed her beside my vehicle. Then my neighbor calmly pointed across the courtroom. That's the woman I saw underneath Emily's car. Rachel's attorney fought back. It was all coincidence. It was circumstantial. She loved her sister. Then the prosecutor played the voice recording. The courtroom fell silent. Rachel's own words echoed through the speakers. For the first time, I saw fear on her face. Real fear, not anger, not arrogance, fear. When I testified, I didn't raise my voice. I didn't insult her. I simply told the truth. I trusted my sister. I let her into my home. My daughter called her Aunt Rachel. I never imagined she'd become the person my daughter needed protection from. Several jurors wiped away tears. Then came the moment I never expected. Rachel asked to speak before sentencing. She stood slowly. For one brief second, I thought she might apologize. Instead, she looked directly at me. You always had everything. You got the husband, the child, the house, the attention. You even survived. There it was, not regret, not remorse, only resentment. The judge interrupted her. Ms. Carter, this is your opportunity to accept responsibility. Rachel remained silent. Minutes later, the sentence was announced. She was convicted of attempted murder, aggravated assault, child endangerment, and multiple related offenses. She received a lengthy prison sentence. As deputies led her away, she turned once more toward me. I felt nothing, no satisfaction, no hatred, no victory over her. Only relief that she could never hurt Lily again. I thought that was the end. I was wrong. Several months later, the district attorney called. There was one more thing you should know. Rachel had admitted everything during a psychological evaluation. She confessed she never intended for Lily to die. She believed I always drove alone on Thursday mornings. She hadn't realized school started later that week. When she learned Lily had been in the car, she panicked. That confession didn't comfort me. It horrified me even more because it proved one thing. She had absolutely intended to kill me. My daughter had simply become an innocent victim of her plan. Life slowly found a new rhythm after that. Physical therapy helped me walk without pain again. Lily recovered completely. She still gets nervous when we drive in heavy rain, but every year it becomes a little easier. We moved to a different neighborhood, not because we were afraid, because we wanted a fresh beginning. My parents spent months apologizing for ignoring the warning signs. I never blamed them. None of us wanted to believe someone we loved could carry that much darkness. The old lake cabin became a place of healing instead of conflict. Lily and I spent our first summer there fishing, roasting marshmallows, and laughing more than we had in years. One evening, she looked at the sunset reflecting across the water. "Mom, yeah, I'm glad you didn't let go." I wrapped my arm around her. "I never will." She smiled the same smile she had given me that rainy Thursday morning before everything changed. Only this time, there was no fear behind it. Only peace. People often ask me whether I ever forgave my sister. The truth is, forgiveness was never the goal, protecting my daughter was. Telling the truth was, refusing to let evil hide behind the word family was. Rachel thought cutting one brake line would erase me from the world. Instead, it exposed every lie she had spent years hiding. She tried to steal my future, but in the end, she lost her own. And the day the courtroom doors closed behind her, for the last time, I looked down at Lily's hand in mine, squeezed it tightly, and realized something I had almost forgotten during that terrible year. We were alive. We were together. And for the first time since that rainy Thursday morning, I finally felt free.